Hi there, thanks for joining me today. We're going to be a little bit jumbled around. I'm redecorating my room at the moment, so the couch that we usually sit on is now gone and in storage. No one's coming over to sit on it anyways, so it's gonna take me a bit to figure out where I want to sit in these videos. Anyway, so I realized just now that I'm wearing the same sweater I wore in my last one, but in my last video I was talking more about wanting to be more consistent and post more videos, especially more things that I'm just doing, like if I make something, I want to make a video for it. And something that I'm really proud of is for Christmas, I made my mom a quilt. Now my original idea was to give my mom this quilt for her birthday, but I got very sick and ran out of time, and the process just went on and on and on. So I've only made one quilt before. This one here, and I made this way back in the springtime when I got to work from home for a little while, so I had a lot of free time and didn't really leave the house. This is a pattern that I made up. It's just one large rectangle, and then a square and a small rectangle. And this is actually based off of the pattern of patches on Bilbo Baggins' robe in the Hobbit movie, in the first Hobbit movie. I don't think it matches it exactly, like I think there's some other shapes in there, but this is what I could see. So happy with how the quilt came out, because this was my first one, and the one I made for my mom just had all of that knowledge that I gained from the first try, and then I could put it into something that turned out, in my opinion, a lot cuter. Another thing that I got really excited about with this quilt was that it's 100% recycled fabric. I was trying really hard to keep some items that might have ended up in the landfill from my household and repurpose them into something new. So in my head, I ended up actually calling this the pajama quilt. There's a lot of pajamas that went into making this quilt. And it's great because they were either ripped or they didn't fit anymore, and nobody in my house wanted them. And now we have all those little bits of memories in one project together. So let me just walk you through a little bit of how I put it together. So after deciding on my pattern, I was able to cut out just lots and lots and lots of pieces. I tried to do a little bit of math to figure out how many I needed, but each time I was really wrong, and you're gonna see this here. Okay, so we have cut out what I thought was going to be all the squares, but I started pinning together, and this is what happened. Next step is to take all the small rectangles and pin them onto a large square, the square, and it seems like I have way more squares than I do small rectangles. I've gotten to the point where I'm just kind of tired of cutting, so I think what I'm going to do is sew together as many squares as possible. So I'm going to do these two and then add one of the large rectangles along the side like that. And then if I need more squares, I'll just pull together some more and we'll see how far we get. But now I'm going to start sewing, and I am so excited. I made my mom a twin quilt. She doesn't have a twin bed, she has a queen, but I knew that it would be good if she just wanted to snuggle up in something. And honestly, I can't really see myself going beyond the size of a twin at the moment because quilts take a long time. I have so much respect now for people who are doing more complicated designs than me. I have gotten maybe a third of my squares together, so I think we're in crunch time right now. I have a couple of errands I'm gonna do today with my family, and I'll probably end up walking the dogs, but my hope is to spend most of the day working at this. Something has gone wrong though. I think I talked about this. I do have all of my squares put together, pinned and ready to sew. However, I have several squares and a couple of big rectangles still left over, and no rectangles. So somewhere along the way, I have miscounted. And I decided, since I was tired of cutting, that I'm just gonna sew everything that I have together into squares and then lay them out and try and count and figure out how many more I need. Or if I'm extremely lucky, then I might have just counted too many of those and I will not have to cut anymore. But we will see. Why do you all leave when I turn on the camera? Anyways, I eventually ended up having to just find more and more scraps of fabric to add to this. And it got really sort of a lot of different variety of designs in it, and I really liked how it turned out. After I had sewn all the pieces together into my little squares, I put them together into long strips like this. And then sewed those together at the top and the bottom of each strip so that I eventually got one long blanket piece. I used an old sheet that I had bought because it had this really cute floral design, kind of 70s. And I really like how it came out. That was for the backing of the quilt. And then I just used a regular quilt batting on the inside. I top stitched in the lines of the seams, which I had sewn my strips together in. And then I was able to do the bias tape around the hem. In order to get the bias tape on, I just stitched one side down and then hand whip stitched the rest of it. And I think it came out really, really pretty looking. I spent most of Christmas Day in quarantine, so this was what kept me busy. And it was a very cozy, nice way to spend my Christmas. I'm so happy with how this quilt turned out, and I am so excited that my mom gets to have it. She seems to really like it a lot, and I think I definitely will make another one in the future with even more tips and tricks under my belt. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.